everybody, welcome to my channel Finding Disney, where we're finding Disney magic right here at home. It is time to break out the ugly sweaters, get those Christmas crafts going. For today I have some super easy Christmas cards that I'm really excited to share with you, so let's flip this camera around and get it started.
The items you'll need for this Christmas card craft is watercolor paints, a nice paintbrush that is somewhat thin, cardstock, a jar of water, and I like to use a paper towel to dab off the excess, and then also a Sharpie, really thin marker. I'm going to go in here with my Sharpie first, and I'm going to make this squiggly line, and this is going to be the cord for my Mickey shaped Christmas lights. I'm going to dip my paintbrush in the water. I'm going to start out with green here. You can choose any colors that you would like. I chose green, blue, and red. I just thought 3 colors was enough. If you would like to add yellow or orange or purple, you can just make it your own. Make your Mickey shape by making a circle and then 2 little circles on top. Easy enough. And it doesn't have to be perfect circles. Just has to be, look like a Mickey shape. I'm going to flip the card around and I'm just going to do the next color on the other side. I'm only just going to show you a few because I don't want you to get bored here, but just choose my blue color. When you do your paint, you don't want too much water to be on your paintbrush. You just want a nice amount of paint on your paintbrush. The less water that you have on your paintbrush, the darker the color. If you want your colors to be a little bit lighter and a little waterier looking, then you're going to have more water on your paintbrush. So it just really depends on what you like and your preference. I'm going to do these Mickey heads all along the way, just doing back and forth, and then you'll see the final product. And there you go. I have finished. I told you that I was going to use the 3 colors, and I think it looks good. It's just not too cluttery, and I just need to let it dry, so I'm going to set it aside. All right, on to the next card. This is going to be our Mickey-shaped wreath, and I'm going to start out with a lighter green because this is going to be our base color. You're just going to start by making a circle shape, and this doesn't have to be perfect. This is a wreath, You want it to look like leaves, bunched together in a circle, so it doesn't have to be smooth. You want it to be kind of rough looking. Just kind of measure where you think that you want it to go. It doesn't have to be the center of the paper. If you feel like your wreath is shifted to one side or the other, just take your paper trimmer and trim off just a little bit of that edge, and then you'll feel better about it being centered. I personally don't mind if the card is a little off center or if my picture is, because I think that's just what makes it special and handmade. So yeah, just keep going in there. Now I'm using a darker color. I think using 2 colors just makes it more dimensional. So again, just not even worrying about it being smooth. I'm kind of making circular motions. And you're just going to blend those 2 colors together. I'm actually going in here with a 3rd green just to give it even more dimension. Just define it a little bit more, make it look a little bit more leafy. And there you go. My Mickey wreath. Now I gotta let this dry for a little bit because I'm gonna add some holly berries onto it. So I'm gonna set it aside. This doesn't have to be completely dry in order to put the holly berries on it. But if it's too wet, then your colors will bleed together, and you don't want that to happen. I'm making a little bit of a thicker consistency of paint, just so the holly berries kind of sit right on top. I'm just going to make 3 dots. They look like holly berries, but we all know, us Disney fans know that these are actually hidden Mickeys, right? I swear I see a hidden Mickey in just about everything. I could be cooking breakfast one morning and I'd be like, oh, a hidden Mickey in my eggs. I'm not kidding. That actually happened one time. I have a picture of it on Instagram. And if you want to follow me on Instagram, I'm FindingDisney5. I'm pretty active on there. I do post some stuff about my family and some dance stuff too, because I'm a dance instructor. All right, there you go. There's our holly berries, and now we're going to set that aside to dry so later on we can do our ink work on it. Okay, guys, I've saved the hardest one for last. This is going to be a large holly berry picture. We're going to start out by doing the holly berry leaves. Again, just like the wreath, I'm going to start out with a lighter green as my base color. And you want just some points. You want the holly berry leaves to look kind of pointy, because that's what they look like. Although I guess I've never seen a holly berry in person, like a real one. I've only seen them on photographs and Christmas cards and such, so I'm not quite sure exactly what they look like. Don't worry, I'm going to fill these in later. Right now I'm just making the shapes. There we go. I'm filling them in. I'm just using the paint that's on my brush to fill these in. I'm going to go in with a darker green, again, just like the wreath. The two-tone color just gives the leaves a little bit more of a realistic look. I'm going to outline them. I'm going to make my line in the middle. Got to get a little bit more paint. This is a little bit more of a turquoisey green. I wasn't quite happy with this color, but that's the beauty of it. No two cards are going to be the same. Every card is going to be individual. Oh, and I have a camera accident. Sometimes you just never know. Now the red is my next color, and I'm going to make my holly berries into a hidden Mickey. I love adding little Disney touches to cards and things like that. I don't want it to be like slap you in the face Disney, but I always find it fun to do some of these subtle Disney touches. Now these are going to look like holly berries to the regular person. But as we Disney fans know, just like I mentioned before, we like all those little hidden Mickey heads. Do you guys like looking for them in the parks? I know I do. Now I'm going in with a deeper red just to make it look more realistic. I hate to use that word realistic because this isn't realistic. This is art. And it's our interpretation of a realistic item. Next, I'm going to make stems. I'm using a brown that kind of has a little bit of a greenish undertone to it, so a greenish brown. I made one straight stem. I'm going to make a few curly Q stems. And this is just freestyle, guys. Don't be too stressed about where you're putting things. It's all supposed to be fun. And I try to make my cards look balanced. I'm just going to add a few dots here to make it look a little bit more like foliage. I love that word, foliage. And there you have it. I'm going to set it aside to dry. Now for the fun part. The ink work just makes it pop off the page. You want to connect your Mickey headlight to the cord, so make just a squiggly black line to connect it. And just roughly outline the Mickey head. It doesn't have to be smooth. I'm making these little triangle shapes on the edge because it's going to look like highlighted, like the light is on, like the light is catching it. It just adds another dimension to it. Now I'm going to go in with some white paint after I did the ink. And I'm just going to tap the white paint in those little triangles that I made on each one of the lights. Just adds a little bit more highlight. It kind of looks like it's popping off the page, you know, like it's just a dot. But as it dries, it'll just kind of blend into the paper and it'll look like a highlighted light. Now here we go onto the Mickey shaped wreath. Again, this is just rough. This one's easy. You just go to town on it. Just make lines, and it doesn't matter if you don't follow the paint exactly, if your lines are outside of the green. And well, on all of these cards, if your lines are outside of the paint, that's what makes this art interesting to me. Now I'm going to go in and just make a little bit more detail to it. I'm going to add some holly berry leaves just on each side of these holly berries. I'm not going to do it on all of them, only a few of them. Just make your holly berry shape, just right by a holly berry. Holly berry shaped leaf, I should say. We've already got our holly berry shapes. And I'm just kind of putting them where I feel like they go best. And again, this is the hardest one. Go in and outline everything. Around those little dots, I'm just making rough circles. If you have double lines, you don't have to carry your line all the way through, like especially on the stems, because that makes the stems look, to me, more, you know, three-dimensional. I'll take a little bit extra lines on the holly berries so that way they look a little bit more highlighted. Add some curly cues on the end of the leaves, and there you have it. Now here's a better look at them. These are the ones from the thumbnail. These are not the ones that I just made. But aren't they cute? I think they turned out really cute. I think my friends and family are gonna love receiving these.
Now comes the hard part, filling them all out, addressing them, and sending them off. I tend to not be very good at that. I tend to be the one that brings them to the Christmas parties when you show up, you know, and you don't have to address them or put a stamp on them. But anyway, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again really soon for a new video. Bye, Disney fans.